Have you ever felt like a passenger in your own life? Not just following a routine, but actually being driven by something invisible. In the second quarter of 1986, at First Boston in New York, a young trader named Larry Fink misjudged the Fed and lost $100 million on a single trade. He was a Wall Street star. Then he was a career corpse. Today, his company, BlackRock, manages over $11 trillion in assets. But the real contrast isn't the wealth, it's the control. This is a psychological audit of the project to replace human choice with machine certainty. Why did a $100 million mistake lead to a machine that knows your next move before you do? That is the mystery we solve tonight. Welcome to the age of surveillance capitalism and the Aladdin Monolith. The rain doesn't stop in this city, and neither does the data. Fink didn't just walk away from his failure at First Boston, he carried a neurosis. He needed to know risk before it bit him. In 1988, in a one-room office in New York, he hired a man named Charles Halleck to build a central nervous system for finance. They called it Aladdin. The asset, liability, debt, and derivative investment network. At the same time, in a strip mall on Long Island, a math professor named Jim Simons was starting Renaissance Technologies. Simons didn't hire bankers. He hired PhDs who couldn't read a balance sheet. They weren't looking for value. They were looking for patterns. Psychology tells us that when a human cannot predict their environment, they fall into learned helplessness. Fink and Simons chose the opposite. They chose the digital panopticon. Interrogate yourself. When you check your bank balance, do you feel safe? Or do you feel like a single data point being processed by 6,000 computers in a data center in Wenatchee, Washington? You aren't checking the score is checking you. By 1994, the Bond massacre proved Fink's neurosis was profitable. While other firms blew up, BlackRock's funds held steady. Aladdin allowed them to see the curbs of the road. But the hunger for certainty is an addiction. It grows. In 2001, Google faced a financial emergency during the dot-com bust. They realized they had data exhaust. Your spelling errors, your dwell time, your secrets. Shoshana Zuboff calls this the origin of surveillance capitalism. It unilaterally claimed human experience as free raw material for translation into behavioral data. This wasn't about making a product anymore. It was about creating prediction products to be traded in behavioral futures markets. If you aren't paying for the service, you are the virgin wood being extracted for someone else's profit. Interrogate the screen in your hand. Is it a tool, or is it a guard tower? Jeremy Bentham designed a prison where the guard could see everyone, but no one could see the guard. You carry that prison in your pocket every day. You build the walls with your own hands every time you click like. By the 2008 crisis, the world was melting down, but Aladdin was rising. The US Treasury and the Fed called Larry Fink to clean up the mess. Aladdin evaluated the toxic assets of Bear Stearns and AIG. The system became the fourth branch of government. Today, Aladdin tracks almost 10% of the world's financial assets. Apple, Microsoft, and Alphabet use it to manage their money. If every major player uses the same risk assessment tool, they all see the world through the same lens. They share the same blind spots. It creates a monoculture. When the machine says run, everyone jumps the same way at the same time. This isn't a market anymore, It's hyper-reality, a world where the representation of the market has replaced the market itself. Interrogate your preferences. Did you choose that song, those shoes, that political opinion, or did an economy of action nudge you toward it? Systems are now designed to bypass your awareness and produce enforced ignorance. You are participating in your own automation, and you're doing it joyfully. The goal is no longer to automate information flows. The goal is to automate us. As one data scientist put it, we are learning how to write the music, and then we let the music make them dance. This is the instrumentarian power. It doesn't want your soul, it just wants your behavior. It seeks a regime of total certainty, but certainty is the enemy of the human spirit. In a world of the uncontract, where your car can be shut down remotely because an algorithm flagged a missed payment, there is no room for sympathy or wiggle room. The system is amoral, not immoral. It replaces the human spirit with observable external stimulations. Interrogate your memory. Can you remember a time when the future felt wide open? Or does the future now feel like a remix of your past? AI doesn't invent, it remembers. It draws from the collective unconscious of our digital fragments. Mark Fisher called this hauntology, being haunted by lost futures that never arrived. AI industrializes recursion. It feeds our own ghosts back to us and calls it novelty. When the past is made ever-present, we lose the ability to imagine a rupture, a break from expectation. Here is the deep value moment. The reason you feel trapped is a behavioral glitch called Algorithmic Narcissism. In 1966, a programmer built Eliza, a chatbot that mirrored users' words back to them. People fell in love with it. They confided in it. Even Weizenbaum's own secretary asked for privacy with the machine. Why? Because we project meaning where there is only computation. AI makes you feel seen and affirmed, but this affirmation is a trap. It mirrors back the identity you already believe you have. Your sense of self becomes a closed loop. You are being refined into a more predictable version of yourself so the system can better process you. The practical solution? Reclaim your right to criminality. Not to break the law, but to remain unpredictable. Use cash. It's the money of the underdog that can't be tracked or censored. Turn off the feedback loop. Embrace the rupture. Be the ghost that the machine can't catch. Larry Page and Larry Fink saw the same thing. Human experience is virgin wood. They automated the past to own your future. We have become the native peoples whose self-determination has vanished from the maps of our own experience. The mystery is solved. We traded our autonomy for the feeling of being understood by a mirror. But if the goal is to automate us, who is left to live the life? Are you engagement, or are you reality? This is for philosophical and educational purposes only, not financial advice. What will you do tomorrow that the machine hasn't already predicted?